Okay. Hello and welcome into the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and if this is your first time here, or you've been here before but have not subscribed yet, what are you doing? What are you doing? We got over 11,000 subscribers. If you've been here before, come on. Join the Knicks-Verse, turn on the notification bell, hit the thumbs up button for me, drop your comments, want to hear your thoughts and feelings about anything Knicks or anything I say on this video particularly, or anything you're thinking about with the Knicks. The New York Knicks, look, things had gotten really interesting. Things had gotten a little tight amongst a certain segment of the fan base. They were disillusioned by these losses, these two recent losses, and they had every reason to be. Every reason to be. And on the previous recap, I said this team still can make it all the way to the NBA Finals. And nothing changes that opinion of mine. Nothing. It's too early to hit the panic button. And the Knicks basically reaffirmed it tonight. They took care of business. They beat Brooklyn 113-100. And it was even a bigger thrashing than that. But Mike Brown played 13 guys tonight because he was able to turn to the bench, empty his bench with about 3 minutes left, because that's how firmly the Knicks had this game in hand. And there were a lot of players who can get some love tonight. Of course, Karl Anthony Towns is the first, but there were several. There was a nice little two-man game between Clarkson and Yabusele, our two super subs who have been somewhat inconsistent, but tonight they gave us some nice positive minutes. And I'll tell you, Yabusele, nice bounce pass to Clarkson on a cut, backdoor cut, beautifully done. Look, Brunson came through with some big efficient minutes, almost 53% from the field, shot 4 of 9 from the three-point line. That's 44.4%. This is a game to be pleased about. Pleased. But I'm not sure it changes the narrative of people's concerns. Injuries are hurting the Knicks. Again, another game without OG, which is expected. Shamet, news came out that he has a shoulder sprain, and he was going to be evaluated in 2 weeks. So it could be a grade 1. I did some web sleuthing. It could be a grade 1, which could be 2 to 3 weeks, or it could be up to a grade 3. They didn't say. They didn't specify the degree, which could be 6 weeks or more. You know, and last year when he hurt his shoulder, he was out 2.5 months, 2 months plus. I'm hoping for the best because we need Shamet. Shamet, and he fits perfectly with the Mike Brown system. We need Landry Shamet to return as soon as he can if he's healthy. But tonight is a night to at least rejoice because the Knicks took care of business. They came back, quote, home. They're still technically on the road because they go to Charlotte now. And so this is a road trip. And then they come back on Friday to play the Bucks. So the next 2 games are NBA Cup games. They're going to play the Hornets in Charlotte. They come back to play the Milwaukee Bucks at home. And the Milwaukee Bucks, I believe they lost tonight. Let's see. Let me just make sure. Yes, they did. They lost to the Portland Trailblazers at home in Milwaukee, 115-103. Now, it is possible that Giannis returns for that game, but I actually doubt that he will return for that game. So the Knicks have a chance to pull off a nice little 3-game win streak and get to like 12 and 6. Here's the stats right now. Here are the right here. Here are the standings. Right now, the Knicks won tonight, so they're 10-6. They're in 5th place. If they win on Wednesday in Charlotte and then come home on Friday, after Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving, you know, unless they eat a little too much turkey, get a little too sleepy, whatever, they can pull that win off against the Bucks, and they will be 12-6. So they won't be worse than 5th, They could be as high as third or second even. And I'm expecting that. I'm expecting the Knicks. The Knicks, it feels like they figured a little something out tonight. And by they, I mean Karl Anthony Towns. Karl Anthony Towns said in the post-game interviews, I tried to keep it simple and I tried to be efficient tonight. He did not even take a three-point shot in the first half of this game. And then he hit some. He finished with a decent efficiency. Let's see. He finished 3 of 4 from the three-point line, but he didn't take any in the first half. We'll get back to this. Let's go to this. 113 to 100. Beautiful. Mikal Bridges continues to be incredibly efficient himself, though there was a moment early in the game when he drove and he bailed out, and this was in the first quarter, on a drive to go all the way to the hoop and maybe pick up a foul. He bailed out, and it ended up becoming a bad shot attempt for the Knicks. He needs to stay aggressive. If there is one word that needs to be tattooed on the inside of every Knicks eyelids with neon, it's stay aggressive. Maybe it's 2 words. Stay aggressive. Be aggressive. If these guys stay aggressive, it'll be very hard for any defense to stop them. Now, I know that the Nets are not a team to, pat yourself on the back about for beating, but especially since they played last night. That's another thing you got to take into account. They played last night. But still, this is some nice efficiency here. Really nice efficiency. But this guy tonight kept it simple, kept it basic, and he was aggressive tonight. Finished with 37 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 dimes for Mr. Karl Anthony Towns. Also got 2 blocks and a steal, and only committed 1 turnover. 1 turnover. Beautiful for him. He was a team high plus 25 in plus minus. Here's the actual closer breakdown of that. 37 points. He shot, 70% from the field. He shot 75% from the three-point line. Hit all 6 of his free throw attempts. 12 rebounds, 3 offensive, 3 assists, 2 blocks, 1 steal, plus 25 in 33 minutes. He was killer cat tonight. Fantastic game for Karl Anthony Towns. And I love that he kept it basic. And look, he was going up against Claxton, Clowney, and De'Ron Sharp, and he should punish those guys like this. What we need is for him to do that against Orlando Magic. The Orlando Magics of the world. I think he learned something from how passive he was in the previous game against the Magic, and he inflicted it on the Nets tonight. Let's see him continue that in the next 2 games against the Hornets and the Bucks. You got to punish your inferior opponents, and tonight Cat did that against the Nets. And here he says, Karl Anthony Towns on what experience has taught him in his career. He said, experience has taught me how to get to my spots with less work. Not having to be so flashy. Keeping the game as simple as possible. That's the sweet spot of his game. I think he was getting a little, forcing it too much sometimes. When he drove, he was getting too deep into the defense. Sometimes he just needs to pull up. If you're encountering a lot of size and physicality, and you're not getting those calls, pull up. You have an incredible shot. He threw up an incredible, beautiful left-handed floater on one of his drives where in another game, maybe against the Magic, he might have tried to go all the way to the hoop and it would have gotten blocked. So I love his adjustments tonight in this game. But the captain, Captain Clutch, Captain Crunch, Jalen Brunson, as Knicks beat Nets again, 27 points, 10 of 19 for him. Beautiful efficiency for the captain, almost 53%. 4 of 9 from the three-point line, 44% for him right there. Beautifully done. He hit big buckets when the Knicks needed them. like he normally does. And I love his adjustment on the defensive end. He has become much more aggressive defensively. He's trying to strip the ball out of players' hands, coming around the weak side on bigs. This is what we need from him, to be a disruptor on the defensive end as much as he can, and he has been doing that of late. Love what he's been doing. Beautiful game for Jalen Brunson. Beautiful game. And then Josh Hart. I'm going to sing some Josh Hart praise tonight. This was his most composed game of the season so far. He didn't try to force it. He did commit one stupid foul that I can remember. But in general, kept it low-key. Only 3 personal fouls. 12 rebounds, which was ties for the game high with Towns. 7 assists, which was the game high for the Knicks. Actually, he might have been the game high for the whole game. Yeah, he was game high. And 2 steals, 2 blocks. The efficiency wasn't so great. 3 of 8 overall. 1 of 3 from the three-point line. But that's not his job, is not to be a highly efficient shooter. His job is to be a kinetic player. Spark rallies. Create turnovers. To be a disruptor on the defensive end. And tonight, he definitely stepped up defensively. Got to shout him out. And do some playmaking. The 7 assists for him. Would I love him to be a little more efficient offensively? Absolutely. But I'll take this. I'll take this type of Josh Hart. If he can do this against higher quality talent. See, this is my concern with him. Yes, he was really effective and productive tonight. He was a plus 17 against the Nets. But can he do that against the Nuggets? Can he do that against the Pistons? We're going to find out. We're going to find out. Against the Magic. He couldn't do it against the Magic. He was 3rd team high in plus minus in his 37, almost 38 minutes of play with plus minus. He was a plus 17. Number 1 was Cat, plus 25. Number 2 was Mikal Bridges. Beautifully efficient game for him. He played within himself. He was a plus 19, 16 points, 2 steals, a block, 4 assists, 2 of 5 from the three-point line, 6 of 11 overall, 54.5% for Mr. Mikal Bridges. And James L. Edwards III tweeted this out, that Josh Hart won Defensive Player of the Game. And this is really big because he was abused, humiliated in that Orlando Magic game. He was constant, and in the previous game as well, against the Dallas Mavericks. He has 2 of the worst games I've ever seen him play defensively in the past 2 games. Completely humiliated. But tonight, he stepped up. Question is, can he do this against good teams? That is the concern of mine. But shout out to him. He won Defensive Player of the Game. He gets the Pitt helmet. He gets the orange jacket. He gets the Timbs. Gets the photographs, which they didn't post yet, but I'm sure you'll see them soon. Brown said that he loves that Hart talked after last game how the defensive issues was a mentality thing, and then went out and provided that energy. That's what leadership is about. Good. I shout out the coach for highlighting that. I'm still not sold. Sorry, guys. Still not sold. I do actually really think that for the Knicks to move further, they're going to have to do something about Josh Hart. Unless he found something tonight and he can replicate this against winning teams, then okay, I'm fine. Actually, that's great. But if he can't, if he's just here to, beat up on bad teams and be a sift, be a traffic cone against good teams, really, what's his value? And I know that upsets a lot of you, but I really want you to think about the player that he really is now, not the player that he's been, the player that he is now, and the goal that this team has. The goal is NBA Finals. Do you believe him making those stupid fouls, those terrible turnovers, passing up 3-point shots, hitting 1 of 3. I mean, 1 of 3 I'll take, honestly. But when he's 1 of 6, 1 of 7 from the 3-point line, and he's not stopping anybody. So we'll see. It's TBD on him. Good response tonight to the previous 2 games. Let's see what happens against Charlotte. Let's see what happens against the Bucks. We'll come back to this. All right, let's look at the stats. I don't have highlights for you guys tonight. Should have announced that earlier. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. As I mentioned before, Mikal Bridges had a really beautiful, efficient night, 6 of 11. Overall, a plus 19 over here. And Deuce did return tonight, but Mitch did not play. And Shamet is out, as I mentioned before. So Hart got the start in place of Mitch, and Deuce got the start in place of OG, or however you want to look at it. Deuce was a little, rusty in his 30 minutes of play. He was 4 of 10 overall, but a beautiful coast-to-coast layup. I love when he does that. Only 1 of 5 from the 3-point line, shot 20%. 3 assists for him, which compared to what he's done lately, that's nice, but we need a little more playmaking from him. We need a little more. We need him to challenge himself to be more of a creative passer. When guys are cutting or flashing, he needs to, basically feed them. He's not doing that right now, but he did finish with 9 points. He was a -7, the only minus in terms of the starters. And Brunson, in his about 33 minutes of play and 27 points, he was a +9. The Knicks let the Nets stick around for a long time, but then they finally built up a nice little lead. And what was the lead when the lead was 18 points in that fourth quarter, kind of late in that fourth quarter, and then finally Brown turned to his bench. So the Knicks were able finally to create some separation between them and the Nets, but it took almost 45 minutes of the game. Tyler Kolek had himself a nice game tonight. 17 minutes, even though his stat line isn't that sexy. 1 of 4, 0 for 1 from a 3-point line, but he gave you 3 rebounds, 5 dimes, some beautiful passes. He actually defensively, I've seen him step it up. He's been kind of taking a page out of the Jalen Brunson book of defense, where he's trying to step in front of guys to pick up the charge call, which he did several times. He finished as a +6, only 2 points, but he finishes a +6 in 17 minutes. So that's great. That means when Tyler Kolek goes out there on the floor for 17 minutes, which is a pretty substantial amount of time, the Knicks did not lose those minutes. That is huge moving forward. If he can continue that, now again, this is against the Nets. So we always have to look at that through that lens, but it's better than the reverse, right? Hakporti got a decent amount of minutes, 12.5 minutes for him. He missed both his free throws. He did get 4 rebounds. He was a -7. I feel like he just needs more burn. Honestly, something's going on with him. I feel like maybe the game is has sped up a little too much for him. He needs to be able to slow it down. Clarkson, even though Clarkson did finish a +10, gave us 12 points in his 20 minutes, that could have been even more so. He kept getting punished by ending up on Noah Clowney and getting punished. Noah Clowney, I think, buried, at minimum 4 3-pointers right over him. He's just not, defensively, he's just not that guy. We knew it. And tonight, that's one of the reasons why this game wasn't a 30-point blowout, honestly. But Gershon Yabusele, 11.5 minutes for him, hit his 1 3-point attempt, which was nice, got 2 assists. One of them was to Clarkson, which I love. He picked up a nice block. Efficient 3 minutes, and he was a +5. So there we go. That pretty much rounds it out. Mohamed Diawara got almost 5 minutes of play tonight. He finished a +3, picked up a rebound. He's like watching a young 1-year-old yearling colt out there on the field, just wow, these big legs and just running around crazy. Keep giving him burn. He will figure it out. He wants to figure it out. He has the physicality that this Knicks team desperately needs. So I hope Mike Brown leans into that and keeps finding minutes for this guy. Has to keep finding minutes. All right, let's look at The team comparisons, the Knicks lost the rebounding battle by 44-43, but almost 30 assists for them. Beautiful. 28-19. Well done. They picked up 12 stocks, 6 steals, and 6 blocks. Excellent for them. They doubled up what Brooklyn could do, and they took care of the ball. Only 8 turnovers. That was fantastic. And I believe Josh Hart, who has been a turnover machine, only committed 1 turnover in this game. He did. Only 1 turnover. So that was huge. I love that. The field goal percentage, the Knicks shot 51%, where the Nets shot about 38%. At the three-point line, the Knicks shot 34.3%, and the Nets shot under 30%. But the free throw line, man, the amount of free throws that they got was pretty annoying. And they connected on 71.4% of that. But the points in the paint is the story. The Knicks punished inside the paint, and that was Karl Anthony Towns just feasting in there. The Knicks were a plus 22 in the paint, 52-30. Second chance points, you lost that. They were -9, 20-11. Fast break points, they lost that also, 13-10. But the points in the paint more than makes up for that. And you can see the lead tracker here, where the Nets were up leading this game by like 5 and like 4 and 3 early on through the second quarter. And then the Knicks built up a nice 12-point lead in that third quarter, but then let it dwindle down to just 2, by the half. And they even let the Nets tie it. But once they tied it, they kept building up the lead and built it all the way up to a 18-point lead in that midway through that fourth quarter until Mike Brown brought in the subs. So this was a nice, convincing win. It says here the biggest lead was 19 points. They went on an 11-0 run. There were 6 lead changes, and they were tied 3 times. So nicely done there. Noah Clowney, big night for him. 31 points for Noah Clowney. That guy was hitting threes left and right. And remember, the Nets played last night, so shout out to them for that. Wow. Gotta say, I'm impressed. Let's look at Mikal Bridges. This is Mikal Bridges' numbers right here. Look at that guy. Here he is. Mikal, the former Net. This season, okay, he's shooting 51.1% from the field, which is the highest he shot since the 2021-22 season with Phoenix. He's shooting nearly 42% from 3, which would be the highest since the 2020-21 season when the Phoenix Suns, I believe, is that when they went to the finals? Possibly. Maybe I have that a little wrong. His efficiency is way up there. I wish the volume was a little higher. He's at 5.7 3-point attempts, which is higher than last season, but that was a little too low. The season before that, when he was with Brooklyn, he was at 7.2. I would like for Mikal to be at 7.2 3-point attempts per game with the Knicks. And his plus-minus right now is at a 2.3, which is very nice, very efficient. Not as good as last year, which was a 4.1, but he's in line for a positive season right now, and I think that's only going to increase. So well done for Mikal Bridges. Let's look at the team stats here in case overlooked anything. As you can see, the field goal attempts for the Nets is one of the reasons why this game was anywhere near close. The Knicks committed 21 fouls, 7 more than the Nets, and sent the Nets to the free throw line 28 times. Double the amount of times that the Knicks went to the free throw line. So there you go. That's one of the big reasons. That's something that the Knicks have to rein in. But this time it wasn't Hart committing those silly fouls. Though he did commit 3, but look, he fouled out of the last game. Cat with 3, Clarkson at 5 fouls. That's a problem. Clarkson with 5, Mikal with 3, Josh Hart with 3, Yabusele had 2, so they all add up. 21 fouls adds up to 28 attempts. Luckily, they didn't connect on them that well. They only shot 20 of 28, 71%, where the Knicks shot nearly 80%. So they ended up being pretty efficient there. But still, they were a -9 in free throw makes. tonight. That catches up to you. The Knicks lost the offensive rebounding battle tonight, 9-13. They won the defensive rebounding battle, 34-31. The assists, beautiful. Knicks had 9 more assists than the Nets. And like I told you, they took care of the ball beautifully, and they were a +4 in points conceded off turnovers tonight. Well done. But really, it was the points in the paint. It was that domination inside the arc in the paint area. And that was Karl Anthony Towns feasting. 37 points for the big man. A +25. Beautifully done. That's what we need. Aggressive cat changes everything for this team. All right, thank you so much for watching this. Again, my name is George. Check out the Knicks-Verse store. Link is down below. Information is down below. If you want to join the channel, support the channel, it'd be great. The join button is down below as well. And hit the thumbs up button for me. Share the video and drop your comments. Want to hear your thoughts and feelings about anything Knicks. And like I said, subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, turn on the notification bell. If you already have subscribed but haven't turned it on, turn that on so you know when I drop a new video or go live. And I'm hoping that the Knicks run the table this week and go 3-0. They got off to a good start with 1-0 against the Nets. Okay, I will see you around the Knicks-Verse. Let's go.